noticed that you're really close to your characters with the camera, and I would like to know how did you work visually on this aspect to create the bond of your characters on screen?
So, first of all, you're right. The camera is quite close to them, and maybe it's a way to show the world through their point of view all the time. You want to be with them and the way they see the world, and not look at them. But I have to admit that this whole thing about shooting is very intuitively for me. It's not that I plan and I think, okay, I want to be close to them here, far. I shoot it very intuitively with the locations, on the locations, and then I figure out sometimes why did I do this. Sometimes, for instance, when we shot the extra shooting days, it was the first moment that I realized that we didn't take even one shot of like a train go through or a bus go through. We didn't take these shots because intuitively I felt that we should be very close to them and to see the world through their point of view. And then I added just 2 shots in the extra shooting day of just for understanding visually something that I needed to explain, that the journey continues. Mm-hmm. But actually, I shoot very intuitively the way that I feel the story. I don't think, okay, I will do this in a close-up, I will do this in a long shot, I will do this in a one shot. I don't think this way. We come to the set with a DP, which is Shai Goldman, he's a genius, and we understand and we feel intuitively the way to shoot. I think he is he has a very gentle hand. He's very sensitive in the way he shoots the people's faces, the characters, and yeah.
Noah Himber's performance is really impressive. Was it hard to find the right actor, and how did you work with him to shape Huri?
So Noam came first audition. We were really amazed, and with the casting manager, I asked him, "How did you do the gestures? How do you have this everything you're doing like so freely?" And he told us that he grew up near a hostel of people on the autistic spectrum, because his father managed a place like this, and became friends with them. So he sort of grew up to play this. But then again, the gestures are not enough. You need to find Uri. It's not about the gestures, it's about the character. We went through a very long research with Uri, but also with Shai Avivi, who plays the father, to understand the special bond, to understand the special communication between the father or the mother and the son. And while we were location scouting in Eilat, actually, you got to understand, Israel, we have very little money for filmmaking. So when you go to the south for location scouting, the producer just wants you to go back because it's very expensive. And suddenly in a restaurant, I see a mother and her son on vacation in Eilat. And I understand that the son is on the autistic spectrum. And exactly in our story, you're not sure. You give it another look. And then I asked our director, please can you contact them, because I didn't want to be like a weirdo that contacts. And she said, sure. She came to them and she says, listen, we're making a film. This is Nir Bergman, you know his work maybe. The writer is Dan Idisis, who wrote a TV series. It's called On the Spectrum. Would you help us? And we became friends with this mother and her son. And we came to them again and again. And we spent time, we went to the pool together. We saw the special connection, the special communication. We learned more and more about how to build the character. But then again, when the shooting days began, I was very, very afraid. I was picking on Noam, each gestures. I was not sure. It was like I was very afraid that we're doing it wrong. But at one moment, I just let go. I understood that I need to look at Uri and not the autism. This was a very, very important moment. I just let go of the gestures and the characteristic of the autism, and I just looked at Uri the way his father looks at him, with big love.
The Kid by Charlie Chaplin plays a big role in the movie. I'd like to know if it's something that was in the screenplay from the beginning, or is something that you choose with Dana during the shooting.
Both. The answer is yes for this, and I mean it began with the screenplay, of course. It began actually with Dana's brother, a guy that was addicted to Charlie Chaplin films for a period of time. So that was the inspiration for the film, and in directing, I took a lot of inspiration from Charlie Chaplin films, characterizing the father, but also having these moments of silent movie inside our film. And also it refers to your first question about how to shoot it. We didn't want this heavy camera of Charlie Chaplin, but we did want the feeling of being close to the characters and the feeling of the couplehood between them. You always see them together. In Charlie Chaplin film, you always are aware of the Kid, they are always aware of where each other is, and we kept this. The father and the kid are always aware of each other and where they are in the frame. They are almost never alone.
This is a movie about parenthood and how parents sometimes are afraid to let their children go and grow. This is something that you reflect on your being a father too. It's something that you feel near to you.
Absolutely. For me, the film is about fatherhood. For me, I always cried when I read the screenplay, and I know it's because for me, having my firstborn, my kid born to the world, was a moment which was maybe the most dramatic moment in my life, because he looked so fragile. He is still fragile, although he's like a big donkey now. He's 18. And wanting to protect your son is so normal for all of us. But then again, the need to let go is also so important. So the film is about both.
The last question is about Gloria by Umberto Tozzi. How did you choose it? Was it something that was part of Dana brother and father's relationship, or you choose it with her?
Actually, we didn't have money for Dancing Queen. This was the original song by ABBA in the screenplay, but it was too expensive, and we are a co-production, Italy co-production, so they told us, look for an Italian song. They gave us like 10 songs, and this was like, oh, this could work for the connection between them, this song. But then they said, listen, you don't need an Italian song. Choose any song you want, but I wanted to stay with this Italian song because I love the idea that they don't need the words really to connect, it's the feeling of them together. And I love the song.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
So much. Thank you.